Welcome to It Was Never You, where we talk about narcissism, complex PTSD, and recovery. So let's talk about flying monkeys. Let's get some examples out there of how flying monkeys act. And first, I'd like to say that narcissists rarely travel alone. They usually surround themselves with people that will do their bidding. It's kind of like an abuse by proxy. Whether those people know or don't know, we can get into that a little bit later. But what they will do is, if any of you have grown up with a toxic parent, this may resonate with you. You get into an argument with your toxic parent, and you're sitting in your home, and all of a sudden your phone is blowing up, and these people are contacting you, your aunts and uncles, and they are saying, how can you treat your parent so unfair? How can you be so mean? And they will utilize people to their advantage to paint this picture as if they are a saint and as if they have done nothing wrong, instead of dealing with the situation, because it's all about perception, about people's perceptions of them. So what they tend to do is I'm going to tell everybody this, my child is a piece of garbage, before my child tells everybody that I'm a piece of garbage. It's all about protecting that mask. They like to protect their self-image and how people perceive them, because they don't want people to see that mask come off. You may have seen the mask come off, and it's frustrating for people that have been through it, because you have this sense of justice about yourself, and you've seen the true side of them, and you want people to see that side as well. They will beat you to the punch, and more often than not, they have already they've already positioned themselves into somebody's life, and in such a manner where they're perceived as a saint and such a good person that no matter what you say, people aren't going to believe you. And this can be a source of frustration, but understand and know that a lot of people have gone through the same situation, and it really, at the end of the day, will just expend huge amount of energy of yours if you try to convince people otherwise. They kind of have to, it's one of those things where people have to see it for themselves. So it's kind of like an abuse by proxy. These people may or may not know that they are being used to abuse you in the same manner that the narcissist does. I do believe some of these flying monkeys have no idea what's going on. I also do believe that some of them do know. And another variable could be that they are scared and don't want to come against this person because they've seen the wrath, they've seen the backlash, and they don't want to kind of go through the same thing. So how do you deal with it when you get those phone calls? So you get these phone calls of, how can you be so terrible to your mother? How can you be so terrible to your father? I can't believe that you treat them this way. What about the family? You don't care about anybody but yourself. You're so selfish. You ruin everything. You think that you're better than everybody else. What if your parent dies tomorrow? You only have one parent. You're going to feel so guilty. You're going to live the rest of your life in a miserable state. Blah, 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 blah. This is what these people will tell you. So growing up in a toxic environment a lot of it is led by shame and guilt. So you're shamed into believing that you should do this, you should do that. This is just what kids do. Look at this person's kid. Look how they treat their parent. This is not a healthy way to live your life, and this is not how a quote-unquote healthy family functions, even though every family probably has some level of dysfunctional behavior to it. But this is and any of you that have been through this know that the level of dysfunctional is kind of absolutely on the border of insanity, the way that it functions at its best in dysfunction. So when these people call you, or when these people say these things to you, if you understand the whole picture and you understand the motives behind it and why the narcissist has to protect themselves, you can kind of pull yourself out of it being a personal thing. And over time, you are able to do this. You know what's coming, so you can better react and not have as emotional of a reaction to it, because you are not so with the idea that you only have one parent, and what if your parent dies tomorrow? And people that have healthy functional relationships with their family, they can use their friends to do this to you, and their friends may have healthy functioning relationships with their parents. So for them, it's, how can you treat your parent this way? You only have one parent, because they're looking at it from their own perspective of having a healthy functional relationship with their parent. And logically, and in the whole perspective of actually how short life is, that is a true statement. You only have one parent, but they don't understand the trauma that you have been through. So I am here to tell you that if you get into an argument with a toxic parent and something, God forbid, does happen to them, or you are not speaking to them and something does happen to them, I want you to get this idea. And because it took me a long time to get to this place, get this idea and get it through your head that you are not responsible for anything that happens to these people, unless you do something to them of your own hands, of your own will, unless you physically harm them. You are not responsible for anything that happens to them. This is abuse by proxy. This is manipulation at its finest. You are not responsible. You are not that powerful. A lot of children that have been raised by toxic parents have this mentality that the parent has some special powers, or that you have powers, that when you think things about people, that bad things will happen to them, or if you upset them, bad things will happen to you. I want you to get out of this mindset, because this is not true. You are manipulated into believing this idea. And flying monkeys, if you can learn to detach emotionally, like I said, in time it will come, from what these people say about you to you, trying to goad you back into having a relationship. Listen, you need to do things on your own time. Life is not a matter of what should I do. Life is a matter of what do you want to do? Do you want to go to that family function? You shouldn't have to be forced and coerced into doing it, because your mindset is, what if this is the last time I see this person? It should be you want to. And healthy functioning parents, what they do is they will instill in their children an unconditional love. And what will happen with that is you will want to do those things for your parents. You will want to be around them. But these people have created this kind of dissension and this division where you don't want to go and you don't want to function. You don't want to go to these family functions, and you are completely able and capable of making that decision for yourself. And whatever decision you make is your decision, and it is okay.